checking in. It is Saturday, and this week I just have today off. I have to work tomorrow, so I will most likely miss my cold plunging class. So anyways, just to kind of bring you up to speed just about life, and I got some sad news yesterday. If anyone, like, I'm sure most of you guys don't know, but I have lived in the same and rented the same house for 18 years of my life. I have basically, like, you know, I've known my landlord for 18 years. I've watched his kids grow up. When his son was 3 years old is when I first moved in the house, and now he's in his early 20s. Anywho, you know, he was, you know, sick and out of the hospital the past couple of months. And, you know, I caught up with the son to like pay my rent, and he was like, oh, you know, has anybody kind of caught you up on what's going on? And I said, no. And he was like, well, my dad's been diagnosed with liver cancer. You know, basically the doctors are giving him 1 more month. So that was like a huge shocker, and I felt so bad. Pretty much all of us have lived in the house for at least 5 years or more, because like every time I look at this kid, I remember him as like a small little 3-year-old kid who was very like silly and shy, and knowing how close he is with his dad, it's just really heartbreaking. When it has to do with my home life and like friends and family, like I don't always adjust very well. Like I usually take it very like hard and personal, and to me this is like a very personal connection to a family all these years. So it's just, yeah, it just was really bummed me out when I came in last night and I just sat down and I'm like, damn, like, you know, that's the end. And he's pretty young. I don't even think he's 70. Of course, you know, it always makes me think about like my family, and you know, my parents are getting older and what that's gonna be like. I just feel really bad because his kids are so much younger. Really did a great job preparing his kids just to be very responsible, really like good, hardworking people. And other news, so this week I mentioned in my last video that I was gonna get back on like my hardcore training of my body. Like I used to, like I was at the gym at least 6 days a week. I was doing my strength training, my cardio, and I had I was constantly switching up my workout. I was doing interval training. So I have hopefully, tentatively have scheduled a date, depending on a few things, the end of May. So I'm really trying to get myself in like a position where I feel really strong in myself, and I feel really confident like in my body and how I look, so that like I'm not like questioning myself during a date. So I'm going hardcore right now. So I have been at the gym most days this week doing either like cardio or rowing, and then also like throwing in my strength training. Yesterday I had a little bit lighter of a day with our trainer doing his like isometrics, and this is supposed to be the end of that really tough workout on Wednesday. I had 2 sessions with him this week because no one showed up for class, and my hope was, what I asked him was like, can I please, like, he's like, what do you want to do when we're by ourselves having class, because we don't have to like adjust our workout schedule based off of everyone else's fitness level. I asked for the hard stuff. So he's always like, so what would you like to do? And I'm like, anything that's hard, you know? And he's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like cardiovascular. I said, I really need to get this weight off my body. I'm like, well, let me see. So technically I'm 40 pounds heavier. I've been saying 50, I need to get 40 pounds off. So I was like, okay, I need to really work on like burning fat. Nutrition's a big deal that I'm really like struggling with, but just trying to get that back online, and then just getting my body toned back up to a level that it needs to be. So that's what I'm doing right now. Also, I'm walking like 20 minutes for like Monday through Friday, like in addition to going to the gym. My main thing is just to keep that strength in my upper body that I've gained with like, you know, especially with yoga and like my push-ups. I really want to continue to go that way. But yeah, so I will be doing some shopping for food today, and I need to work on like figuring out what I want. Last week I ended up making like crock pot chicken, and that lasted me most of the week, and that did fine. And I just threw some onions in there, and I just had like a salad. I had Brussels sprouts. I actually was craving Brussels sprouts last week, and I had that for my dinner. I just ate like a whole bag of Brussels sprouts. But yeah, so like my nutrition's not perfect, but I'm working on it. And then I also need to increase my water intake, which just reminds me I need to order water to my dating and stuff. So I'm still talking to the same guy, and we actually officially have our date. We have a date scheduled tomorrow over Zoom, so it's like our online date. So he was like, I want to have a Zoom with you on Sunday. This Sunday, I want to have a Zoom with you next week. And I said, okay, fine. So what we talked about is we finally set a date to get together and meet, and we picked a location. And then it was kind of like, it got super real. And I was like, dude, like, he kind of like all like started, you can kind of feel his anxiety, like, oh wow, like, okay, we set a date, we're gonna meet, oh my God, like, this is crazy. And I'm like, yeah, that was kind of the whole point. So he was like, okay, like, we definitely need to like make sure that we are gonna get along when we actually like get together and meet. So like, let's schedule some Zoom calls. So we had some ideas like of the games that we can play that are pretty fun. And then I also ended up buying like these cards called like Question for Humans. And those have been really, really popular. It's another Dr. John Deloney, he's another Ramsey personality. And he came up with these cards to help people like really just have conversations, because like we're not used to like talking to people. Like we're also consumed with like social media and all that stuff and just distractions. So I got that for dating, because I was like, okay, I don't have to be like trying to come up with like questions to ask and be like in my head about that. So yeah, so hopefully they'll be here next week. They're like only $12, and then I will be able to like pull different cards, and then we can answer the questions and get to know each other. Pretty deep conversations, not so much surface level. I think if like we're gonna, you know, take the time to, you know, drive 10 hours to meet up or fly, that, you know, we at least know, okay, like our interaction, our communication are vibing off of each other. So, you know, based off of that, we'll see. So I'm not really planning kind of like cruise around. I'm like, okay, like where would I stay? And like, you know, do I want to drive? And then I really thought about it. I was like, no, I don't want to drive. We're going to just take it one step at a time. So first conversations on Zoom. And then once we have these Zoom calls, then we'll kind of be like, okay, are we going to actually meet? Or are we going to actually like do this like date in person? Yeah, we pretty much have talked every day. The past couple of weeks, we just kind of, I was just like, I am totally fine with you calling every day. I said, it's totally fine. I'm good with it. Some people aren't, and I'm just like, I am. I'm like, you can call and we could just check in and it's cool. And essentially call me when he's driving home from work, and then that's kind of like our time to chat. And then, so it's like, you know, half an hour, and we chat every day, and it's been really nice. Back to our crazy training day to get back into shape ASAP. Fill you in on like today and like my weekend, how I'm feeling and all that great stuff. So, you know, we had a big work event yesterday, and you know, like of course things don't always go like they planned. Like you planned them to go. And I'm just a little annoyed because it's like, you know, everyone's having really great comments, and you know, it's been like mainly positive, but you know, I kind of felt like I was kind of thrown under the bus today during one of our meetings. And I was like, you know, if everything would have went perfectly, I had this beautiful plan for everything, and the plan didn't work out because we had all these problems that came up. So I'm not like, and I used to take accountability for a lot of things and for like a lot of other people, even though it wasn't my mistake, but I'm not going to do that anymore. So I've been doing a whole lot of like, that would have been great in a perfect world, but it's not a perfect world. You know, I'm like, so this is what happened, and these are the reasons why this didn't work out. So not making excuses, but it is what it is. I said, these are the facts, and the facts are things didn't work out like we would have hoped for them to turn out. That just kind of bothered me, because sometimes I'm like, I am a perfectionist. However, I feel like I always take on more responsibility for things, and I try to like rely on other people to help me, and like not to get so wrapped up in like planning and feeling like, okay, like things didn't get executed to the plan. So I said, so anyway, so I'm gonna go back and talk to my coworker about it. But I'm like, this was my beautiful plan that I had in place. All of it got blown up. So it wasn't like I wasn't prepared. It's like, I had this prepared, but I was not expecting A, B, C, D, and E to happen. So I don't know, maybe I should let it go, but I feel like I let things go too much with people and not like addressing when I'm upset about stuff. In other news, I ended up over the weekend having a Zoom call with the guy from Washington, and it actually went really well, I thought. So yeah, conversation was good. It was like just flowed nicely. So yeah, we'll see. So, I think, I don't know, I feel like the conversation went really, really well, but I also feel like it's like, he just gave me a date to give me a date, and he still isn't like 100% like, with it and sure. So, he was like, did you buy your plane ticket for Memorial Day? And I said no, because I felt like, you didn't seem super confident. Like, it seemed like you freaked out a little bit. I said, so I'm like, I didn't buy my plane ticket because I've had people like flake on me in the past, and I said that I just didn't feel very confident about like you holding true to that date. So we'll just see. He's much, much slower than I would have like hoped, but it is what it is, and we're continuing the conversation, and I'm getting these game cards that should be pretty fun for us to talk about. But we talked a whole lot about family and just like life in general. We found out that we have a love for animal documentaries, which is hilarious to say, but I do love watching Planet Earth and all these different wildlife things and sharks, and so I thought that was kind of fun. But anyways, I am so exhausted from our event on Sunday. Put so much energy into getting things done and trying to be a million places and at one time, and doing my best to try to delegate as much as I could, and I just felt like I was stretched thin and did very well. But I have a tendency to be more negative after an event, and it's like, well, we should have had these things in place, and had we had meetings and had everybody on the same page, we would have caught all of this stuff. I try not to do that, but I did like write down like some things in our event plan to just let people know, like, this is how we do things. I said, this is generally how we do it. I'm like, but we have everybody in on these meetings for these event meetings. So anyways, so we had a dating thing, so I had that, and then I ended up going to bed at like 10:15 last night because I was just so literally physically I was exhausted. I walked 10,000 steps within the 3 hours of this event, and then I was just like, I was done. And then I jumped on this call. We talked for like an hour, maybe. No, I take that back. We talked for like an hour and a half, which was really nice. So we just, yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I am just like, I'm like cautiously optimistic because I've just had too many experiences of people like kind of flaking, and I didn't have a whole lot of like increased support after our conversations. So anyways, that's my update